In the car accident, he left me to save another woman, abandoning me in the soon-to-explode car. Later, he knelt down and begged for my forgiveness. The screeching brakes ripped through the night air, a metallic roar followed by shattering glass. My body was pinned tightly in the driver's seat, completely immobilized. A familiar, searing pain shot through my lower back, an old injury from years ago when I saved my husband, Benjamin. Now, in this wreck, it flared up violently. Help! Is anyone there? I weakly reached out, my fingers trembling uncontrollably. Through the rising smoke, I saw a figure rush toward the car. It was Benjamin. A stone momentarily lifted from my heart. But then, he bypassed me, violently wrenched open the passenger door, and swept Emily into his arms. Emily! Don't you dare fall asleep, stay with me. I'm here. His voice was shaking, laced with an unprecedented tenderness. My pupils shrank, my heart felt like it was being brutally squeezed. Benjamin, help me, I can't get out. I gritted my teeth, straining to call out. But he only glanced back at me with a cold, distant look. His tone was utterly foreign, figure it out yourself. I can't leave Emily. Boom! Flames shot up, and a blast of intense heat washed over me. Paramedics rushed to the scene. One immediately bent down to check on me. She's severely injured, her spine might be fractured. We have to rush her to the ER. Just then, Benjamin lunged, blocking them, his voice tight with desperation. No. Save Emily first. She's unconscious. But your wife's condition is more critical. The doctor frowned. Shut up. Benjamin angrily cut him off. He held Emily tightly, his eyes resolute. I'm the next of kin. I'm responsible. Save her. In that moment, I felt like I'd been dropped into an ice-cold abyss. Passers-by were whispering, my God, is he insane? I heard that's his wife. If that were my husband, I'd have slapped him senseless ages ago. Leaving his wife for another woman? That man is beneath contempt. The hospital hallway reeked of disinfectant, cold and oppressive. I lay in the hospital bed, wrapped head to toe in bandages, my left leg encased in a heavy cast, my head tightly bound with gauze. I was so weak I barely had the energy to speak. Benjamin finally walked into my room, but his gaze never landed on me, there wasn't even a flicker of pity. He walked straight to the bed next to mine, where a pale Emily lay. She only had a few scrapes, and when she looked at me, there was a flash of unmistakable triumph and provocation in her eyes. Benjamin, I struggled to lift my hand, wanting to reach for him, if only to touch the edge of his jacket. Benjamin completely ignored me. He gripped Emily's hand tightly, his fingers gently stroking the back of hers, his voice so gentle it felt alien to me. Emily, are you feeling any better? Are you still in pain? Outside the emergency room, the onlookers whispered. Oh my God, isn't that his wife? So badly injured, and it's ridiculous. His wife almost died in an explosion, and she's less important than some mistress. The chatter was like tiny spikes, stabbing my chest, making my breath ragged. I watched Benjamin carefully wipe blood from Emily's face, murmuring reassurances, don't be scared, I'm here. You're going to be fine. Emily half opened her eyes and let out a weak moan, but just as I looked over, a faint, cold smile curled on her lips. My chest tightened violently, and tears streamed from my eyes. Benjamin. I called out again, my voice trembling with despair. It was only then that Benjamin seemed to be reminded of my presence. He turned his head, his gaze icy and detached, as if I were a total stranger. Are you okay? Since you're awake, you can be discharged. My heart plummeted, the shock made me stop breathing. Discharged? My leg, how can I leave like this? Benjamin impatiently cut me off, his voice filled with disgust. You'll have to manage. Emily is badly hurt and needs care. He turned away again, speaking softly to Emily. I hired the best nurse for you. Just tell her anything you need. I'll stay here with you. But, she is your wife. An elderly woman in the next bed couldn't help but interject. She had witnessed Benjamin's coldness the whole time, her tone full of pity and confusion. Benjamin snapped his head up, glaring sharply at the old woman, his voice cold. That is none of your business. It was clear that, in his eyes, I was less than a stranger. He held Emily's hand, murmuring comfort. I stared at their intertwined hands, at the tenderness on Benjamin's face directed at Emily, and the complete disregard he had for me. My eyes instantly welled up, tears silently tracing paths down my cheeks. I felt like a piece of discarded junk, utterly forgotten. The smell of disinfectant saturated the hallway. I lay in the hospital bed, my lower back encased in a thick brace, my legs stiff as if filled with concrete. Every shallow breath pulled at my nerves, making me break out in a cold sweat from the pain. It had been days, and Benjamin hadn't come to see me not once. Yet, every day, he pushed Emily in a wheelchair, strolling up and down the hospital floor. Today, he finally appeared in my doorway. But he wasn't there for me, he was pushing a radiantly smiling Emily. Emily was wearing a brand new pink lounge set, the one Benjamin had personally picked out for her. She sat in the wheelchair, her face looking pitiful. "Benjamin, I still can't really walk." Benjamin immediately bent down to smooth the blanket over her knees, his voice so gentle I hardly recognized it. "Don't worry, I'm right here with you. Just focus on healing." The sight made my chest ache. I couldn't help but speak up. "Benjamin, my back hasn't healed. The doctor said I can't get out of bed for at least 3 months. He frowned, finally giving me a glance, one that was pure disgust. "Scarlett, can you stop being so dramatic? It was just a few scrapes. Do you have to pretend you're on your deathbed every day?" I trembled all over, my voice hoarse. "Scrapes? My back injury is a relapse from when I saved you years ago." "That's enough." Benjamin sharply cut me off, his voice chillingly cold. "Stop bringing up how you saved me. You got yourself foolishly injured. Whose fault is that? Now you look like this, it's embarrassing." Emily suddenly spoke softly, her voice syrupy sweet. "Sister Scarlett, don't be angry. Benjamin didn't mean it like that. He just worries you'll become too dependent, and he wants you to be strong." The corners of her mouth slightly lifted, but her eyes held naked provocation. I bit my lip hard, my fingernails digging into my palms, almost breaking the skin. Benjamin gently reassured Emily, "Ignore her. Let's go. I'll take you outside to get some sun." With that, he pushed Emily and walked away without a backward glance. I stared blankly at their retreating backs, feeling all the blood in my body rush to my heart. I had risked my life to save Benjamin when he fell down the stairs, and it left me with severe complications. My spine has always been fragile. He knew this, yet he left me in a car that was about to explode. Lying there, the tears finally came, soaking the pillow beneath me. In the hallway, a few patients whispered, "Oh, this Scarlett is so pathetic. If it were me, I wouldn't want to live anymore." I closed my eyes, my fingers gripping the bedsheet so tightly my knuckles were white. A voice whispered deep inside me, "Stay alive. Scarlett, you have to survive. You can't die." My back injury still made walking difficult. When I received an invitation to the company dinner, I hesitated for a long time, but finally decided to go. It wasn't because I enjoyed such events, but because I wanted to see if Benjamin would, in front of everyone, show even a single shred of concern for me. The ballroom was dazzling with lights, glasses clinking everywhere. And he stood in the most prominent spot, perfectly tailored suit, looking utterly triumphant. Emily was on his arm, wearing a shimmering champagne gown, her smile bright and gorgeous. Her posture was confident and natural, as if this spot was always meant for her. Tonight's main characters, of course, are Mr. Benjamin and his beloved Miss Emily. The host's voice boomed across the room. The applause was deafening. I sat stunned in a corner. It felt like the entire world was celebrating them, and I was merely an uninvited guest. I was such a fool to believe Benjamin's lie about not announcing our marriage for the sake of company stability. Now it was clear, it was just to make room for his Emily. The chatter nearby quickly reached my ears. "Benjamin and Emily are a match made in heaven, aren't they? Absolutely, the perfect couple. Not like some people who cling to him shamelessly. I heard that Scarlett is just some distant relative, right? She's been living off them for years, eating their food for free. Haha, look how she's dressed. So embarrassing." My fingers were white as I fiercely gripped the glass in my hand. The cold water sloshed in my palm, but my chest felt like it was on fire. Emily suddenly turned and saw me. A flicker of mockery crossed her eyes, but she feigned surprise. "Oh my, Sister Scarlett, you're here too? What a coincidence." She leaned softly against Benjamin's shoulder, her voice sickeningly sweet. "Today is the most important day for Benjamin and me. I'm so touched you came to witness it." A wave of laughter immediately swept through the room, and all eyes landed on me, as if I were a clown who didn't belong. "Scarlett? So that's her. She looks quite ordinary, actually. I thought she was someone important." No wonder Benjamin never publicly acknowledged her. Benjamin's gaze finally settled on me. But the look wasn't concern, it was revulsion. "Scarlett, what are you doing here? This place is not for you." His voice was cold and merciless. My heart felt like it had been violently sliced open. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. Emily landed the final blow, speaking with gentle consideration. "Sister Scarlett, please don't misunderstand. Benjamin has always thought of you like a sister. You're important to him, but some roles shouldn't be confused." At that sentence, I felt the whole room erupt in laughter. A sister? Ha! In this marriage, I had become the most pathetic outsider. A sister? Haha, so she's his adopted sister. She probably still fantasized about replacing her, poor thing. Oh well, some people just don't know their place. The laughter, the whispers, the looks of disdain, they all drowned me like a rising tide. I clenched the tablecloth with both hands. The pain in my back pulled at my nerves, but the worst pain was the shredding humiliation in my heart. I finally understood. In their eyes, I was nothing. A dependent adopted sister, a joke who wasn't even worth mentioning. That night, after returning to the hospital room, I barely slept. The laughter from the banquet was still ringing in my ears, and those harsh words were nailed into my memory like spikes. They called me the adopted sister. They called me a shameless hanger-on. They said Benjamin and Emily were a match made in heaven. I clutched my chest, but my breathing only grew more frantic. It dawned on me, my marriage to Benjamin had never been acknowledged by him. He led me to the altar while telling the world I was nothing more than an insignificant shadow. Rage surged through my veins, but it was quickly suppressed by a chilling clarity. I suddenly understood that tears, pleading, or accusations were useless. To Benjamin, I was already a burden. To Emily, I was her most cherished trophy. To everyone else, I was nobody. If I still wanted to prove anything, I had to rely on evidence. From that day on, I started recording everything on my phone. I logged the time and place of every provocative smirk from Emily. I recorded every cold, dismissive word from Benjamin. Even their PDA on social media, I saved every single photo. July 15th, outside the room. Emily, he only cares about me now. July 15th, inside the room. Benjamin, you haven't belonged to me in a long time. July 28th, company party, Benjamin makes a high-profile entrance with Emily. August 2nd, vacation photo on social media, comment section full of nothing but blessings. The words typed onto the screen, one by one, were like knives carving into my heart. I didn't cry, nor did I become hysterical, I just wrote them down with cold detachment. Because I knew these would be the weapons for my counterattack. At the same time, I started quietly investigating. I contacted a university classmate who was now a lawyer to discuss divorce proceedings and asset protection. I subtly reconnected with several former colleagues who Benjamin had squeezed out of the company and who harbored resentment. Some were vague, but I could tell they had nothing but contempt for Emily's ascension. The deeper I dug, the more I felt. Emily's appearance was not sudden. In just 2 short years, she climbed from an unknown employee to a position beside Benjamin. Careful calculation had to be behind it. On the surface, I remained the same silent, broken woman. Fellow patients would still try to comfort me, "Scarlett, you need to look on the bright side. Life moves on." I'd just offer a slight smile, noncommittally. But deep inside, an unquenchable fire was ignited. It kept me from collapsing during countless painful nights of recovery, making me sharper and more focused. I stared at the ceiling, my inner voice whispering over and over, "Benjamin, Emily. What you owe me, you will repay 100-fold one day." My plan for revenge was quietly brewing in this dark hospital room. Every fake, concerned inquiry from Emily outside my door, every chillingly indifferent look from Benjamin, was like a spark, precisely thrown into the abyss of my rage, fueling a raging fire of retribution. Yet, this fire didn't burn me, instead, it made me calm, powerful, and utterly clear-headed. "You will regret this," I told them in my heart, over and over, with firm serenity. I began to strictly control my diet and diligently participated in physical therapy. Day by day, my body recovered, and day by day, my eyes became sharper and more determined. A few months of recovery completely transformed me. The woman in the mirror was no longer the one with the vacant stare and swollen, red eyes. I cut my messy long hair and put on a sharply tailored, deep blue dress. My eyeshadow was cool-toned, my lipstick a disciplined red. The moment I straightened my back, I saw a woman who had stood back up. Tonight was the company's annual gala. I decided to give Benjamin and Emily a surprise there. The brightly lit venue was buzzing with chatter. Benjamin, impeccably dressed, had Emily on his arm in a red gown, accepting everyone's compliments. "Wow, Benjamin, you and Emily are truly meant for each other. True love conquers all. I heard you went through a life-or-death situation. It's so touching." Emily was beaming, her eyes triumphant. She was clearly soaking up the envy of the crowd. And then, I pushed open the doors. All sounds froze instantly. Every eye in the room swiveled toward me. "Who is that?" someone whispered. "I heard she's Benjamin's adopted sister? She's actually quite pretty." "Humph, isn't she just a freeloader? How dare she show up at an event like this?" I heard them, but I didn't waver. I walked steadily toward them, each step like a challenge to their carefully constructed stage. I ignored all the murmuring, walking directly toward Benjamin and Emily. Every step was deliberate, as if I were walking on their fraudulent platform. Benjamin, Emily. Long time no see. I offered a small smile. My voice wasn't loud, yet it made everyone instinctively hold their breath. Emily spoke first, her tone laced with provocation. Sister Scarlett? I'm surprised you could make it. You recovered fast. She deliberately raised her chin, her eyes full of contempt. Benjamin gave a cold laugh. Scarlett, what are you here for? To make a scene at an event like this? I looked at them, my eyes clear and cold, ignoring their mockery and the surrounding chatter. My gaze locked directly onto Benjamin, every word resonating clearly. I'm here to make you realize who the real liar is, and who is truly unforgivable. I slammed a marriage certificate onto the table. What is this? Someone leaned in suspiciously. I spoke clearly. Benjamin and I were legally married at the courthouse 5 years ago. I am not an adopted sister, not a freeloader, not a joke. I am the one legitimate wife you can never erase. The room erupted. What? She's the wife? Then Emily? The mistress? Oh my God, we all thought. Emily's smile completely froze. Her fingers desperately dug into her clutch bag. Benjamin's face was ashen. He lowered his voice. Scarlett, are you crazy? What kind of nonsense are you spilling in this setting? I sneered, my eyes sharp. Crazy? No. I just want everyone to know who the real liar is. I knew I needed more powerful evidence. I signaled, and a projector I had prepared instantly flickered to life. The screen displayed a surveillance clip from the hospital that day. I was trapped on the stretcher, and the doctor urgently told Benjamin her condition is critical. She needs surgery immediately. But Benjamin pushed the doctor away, grabbed Emily, and his voice was clearly audible. Save her first. Save Emily first. She's the only one that matters. The clip froze. The entire hall was silent. Next came testimonial videos from the elderly patient and the nurse I had contacted. Miss Scarlett was nearly bleeding out. The situation was very dangerous. But her husband, he completely disregarded her, only staying by the other woman's side. A burst of anger erupted from the audience. That's a beast. This is their so-called true love? Laughable. Scarlett is the wife, but he brings his mistress out in public? I slowly pulled my gaze away and looked at Benjamin and Emily, my voice cold. This is the truth. Today, I just want everyone to see with their own eyes what kind of betrayal and lies your so-called affection is built upon. Emily's face was chalk white. She desperately grabbed Benjamin's arm, her voice trembling. Benjamin, you, say something. Tell them it's not true. Benjamin's face was a mottled mess of red and white, like his facade had been stripped bare. He could no longer deny it. Benjamin's eyes turned vicious. He pointed at me, his voice shaking with fury. You vicious woman. You think this will ruin me? You just wait. I promise you, you won't get anything. The scene descended into chaos. The projection screen remained on the scene. Benjamin pushing the doctor away, ignoring me, and clutching Emily while screaming, save her first. Everyone saw it clearly, and everyone's eyes were full of judgment. Emily's expression changed completely. She couldn't maintain her elegant smile any longer, shrieking, this is fake. It has to be fake. Scarlett, you're trying to frame me. I smiled faintly. Frame you? Emily, these surveillance videos and doctors' testimonies are irrefutable evidence. If you feel wrongly accused, you are welcome to sue me. Emily's breathing was ragged, her makeup on the verge of cracking. She grabbed Benjamin's arm. Benjamin, say something. Clarify this for me. But the veins were already throbbing on Benjamin's forehead. He was backed into a corner, his gaze terrifyingly dark. Emily, shut up. He roared in a low voice, like he wanted to tear something apart. Emily's eyes widened in disbelief. You're yelling at me? Benjamin, you're yelling at me in front of everyone? Her voice was high-pitched and tearful. Didn't you say I was the only woman you loved? Didn't you promise you would make me your real wife? Her words caused the hall to erupt yet again. Oh my God, she admitted it herself. So she really is the mistress. TSK, she had the nerve to provoke the lawful wife in public? This just backfired. I stood to the side, watching them tear each other apart, feeling only cold irony. Benjamin's face was livid, beads of cold sweat dotting his brow. He gritted his teeth, saying through clenched jaw, Emily, this is a critical moment. Shut your mouth. But Emily was already panicking. She tugged at his sleeve, her voice shrill, shut up? You're telling me to shut up? Benjamin, you ungrateful jerk. Could you have gotten this far without me? How many of your company deals did I help you secure? She grew more agitated, her finger trembling as she pointed at me. If your wife hadn't been so lucky, she would be dead. And now you're blaming me? That statement dropped like a bomb on the audience. I slowly raised my hand, gathered the evidence from the table, and spoke coldly. Thank you, Emily. You just completed the most crucial step for me. I stared at her collapsing face, my voice quiet but perfectly clear. You just admitted you wanted me dead. Benjamin's face went completely dark. He reached out to cover Emily's mouth, but she violently shook him off. For the first time, they lost control in public, their image instantly shattering. What Scarlett said is true. An old colleague stepped forward, his voice trembling but firm. Emily secretly messaged me once, asking me to help her spread rumors about Scarlett and offered me payment. I thought it was a joke at the time, but I didn't realize she was truly this wicked. Another person stood up. Benjamin also hinted to me, telling me to distance myself from Scarlett, claiming she had mental issues, and to avoid contact with her. With both direct evidence and witness testimony, Benjamin's face was completely flushed, his eyes filled with panic and rage. He pointed a finger at me, speechless with anger. You. Emily could no longer maintain her false composure. She covered her face and ran. The public opinion completely swung to my side. The eyes that had once judged me were now full of guilt and sympathy. Those who had complimented Benjamin and Emily were now looking away, as if they had seen the plague. Benjamin is a total embarrassment. Emily is such a poisonous woman. How is she still allowed to work for the company? I watched Benjamin and Emily in their humiliating defeat, feeling a surge of satisfaction. The banquet ended in chaos. Emily completely collapsed under public scrutiny, like a rat caught in the open. Former colleagues who had fawned over her now avoided her like the plague. So she was the one pulling the strings. I feel like such a fool for defending her before. A woman like that should be kicked out of the company. Emily was immediately suspended pending an internal investigation. Those who had flattered her instantly cut ties, fearing association. She was forced to hide, unable to face anyone. She desperately tried to contact Benjamin, but he was overwhelmed and had no time for her. And Benjamin? He tasted an unprecedented level of shame. His former image as the devoted good guy was utterly destroyed. He lost face, respect, and all pretense. In the days following the banquet, Benjamin felt like he was plunging into an abyss. He started calling me frantically, sending messages, and even staking out my old apartment. Scarlett, can we please talk? I was wrong, I really was. Scarlett, Emily manipulated me. You're the one who loves me most. Come back, let's start over. But my phone never showed a single reply. Meanwhile, the public outrage cut him like a sharp blade. Benjamin? He's finished. A hypocrite, one face in public, another in private. He had it coming. What goes around comes around. Partners withdrew their investments, and the stock price tumbled off a cliff. My lawyer called. Scarlett, several of Benjamin's major projects have been put on hold. Investors are collectively pulling out. The company's cash flow may not last. I merely glanced at the screen, my heart undisturbed. This was all as I predicted. Soon, Benjamin's empire came crashing down. Banks demanded repayment, suppliers cut off service, and demoralized employees scattered. Benjamin is completely ruined. No one can save him this time. As for Emily, she had vanished without a trace. She only used Benjamin's resources to climb the ladder, and the moment he lost his value, she ran faster than anyone. Sure enough, another message from the lawyer. Scarlett, we found that Emily cleaned out almost all of Benjamin's personal assets. Houses, cars, stocks, all transferred to her name, and then she disappeared. I curled my lip in a cold smile. This was the lover he sacrificed everything to protect, who, in the blink of an eye, drained him dry, leaving nothing but bone. After filing for bankruptcy, Benjamin was a whipped dog. The former sued anti-executive was now ragged, his eyes vacant. He knelt below my apartment, weeping hysterically. Scarlett! Please! Forgive me! Save me! I know I messed up. He tightly hugged my leg, snot and tears smearing his face. It was all that bitch Emily. She tricked me, she ruined me. I still love you. Only you were good to me. The surrounding neighbors gasped at the sight. Isn't that Benjamin? He was so successful before. Tisk, look at him now. Serves him right. Scarlett had a lucky escape. That trash doesn't deserve her. I looked down at his wretched state, without a trace of pity. Every scene of him coldly watching me suffer played back in my mind. Now he was kneeling, begging me? Laughable. I coldly pushed his hand away. Benjamin, you realize your mistake now? It's too late. The moment you chose to abandon me, it was over between us. I turned my back and walked away without looking back. Behind me, his desperate wailing grew faint in the air until it finally faded. The divorce papers were finalized quickly. With irrefutable evidence and proof of Emily's fraud, I successfully recovered the assets that rightfully belonged to me. The moment I signed my name on the divorce agreement, I felt the shackles around my chest shatter completely. Benjamin's spirit was entirely broken. Everything he once possessed, his career, money, reputation, and even the love he thought he had, vanished overnight. He sank into endless regret and despair, eventually hitting rock bottom. I heard he became an alcoholic, his mental state deteriorating severely. The ambitious man was gone, replaced by a complete ruin. I watched my former husband descend into an abyss, and I felt no regret or schadenfreude. The pain and hardship I endured became the fuel for my rebirth. I sold the house Benjamin and I once shared and moved to a completely new city, away from all the old noise and pain. I found a cozy new apartment and started working again. I was no longer the meek housewife dependent on her husband. I found my value in a new field, and my career flourished. Benjamin and Emily? In my dictionary, they were dead. I finally understood that the person most worthy of my love had always been myself.